Hi, everyone. So, this message is going to be for anyone who feels like you're trying to make a decision or solve a problem, but you feel like your intuition is blocked and you're not getting good, clear messages from your intuition. So, I'm going to do a 6-card spread and I'll describe to you what each of the positions of the spread will be, just to answer different questions about our blockages, what our intuition is trying to tell us, and so on. So this position is going to represent what you are not seeing. This is what messages do you need to hear. This is what is blocking your intuition. This position is how do you want to solve this problem? This is how can you hear your intuition better? And this is what should your next steps be? So I'm going to add, let's start with this one. We'll do a Prism Oracle card for each position. And then we'll do an archetype card for each position. Okay, so this first position is what are you not seeing? So we're going to start there. So we have the Hanged Man, Faith, and the Comic. So the Hanged Man and Faith are already giving me ideas of your crown chakra, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about blockages from your intuition or blockages to your intuition. And that starts with having a free flowing crown chakra, an open and balanced crown chakra. The Hanged Man is also giving me an energy of some kind of an awakening. And it's probably an awakening that might be in the process of happening, but yet you haven't fully awakened yet, because I am getting a need here for you to open that crown some more, because that's when the enlightenment comes in. That's how the information comes in. So I think that may be what you're not seeing, which is what we asked here, is how does this information even get to us? That maybe you need to be more clear about how that intuition even comes to us, or how that integrating those information, how does that even come in the first place? So with Faith, I am seeing that it may be helpful for you to meditate, to pray, to talk to your guides, talk to your angels, talk to your ancestors, make this make sense for you and your own belief system, but to really put faith in them to bring these messages to you. And with the Comic, it's almost saying to lighten up about it too, to maybe crack jokes to your ancestors if you're a funny person anyway, or ask in a lighthearted way to say, can you just, help me trip on the answer so that I can find the answer to whatever this is that you're trying to solve. So that's what I'm getting from that, is to enlighten yourself about the process, to know how these messages even come in, who to talk to, that would be your guides usually, and to do it in a lighthearted way. Crack a joke, or just say it when you're driving in the car. Just talk to them and be lighthearted about it. You don't have to go into a deep meditation or anything like that. It can be very lighthearted, I'm getting with the Comic. So to really understand that process and to even understand how those messages get integrated. And it starts with enlightening yourself about how these messages come through your crown and who they come from. And that you can talk to them just like casually, like you would a friend with the Comic. So that's the first position of what you're not seeing. So if we move on to the message of what do you need to hear? What is the message that's trying to come through? So we have the Three of Cups, Rest, and the Shaman. So the Three of Cups is often for me my card for spirit guides, because the Three of Cups represents your friend group, your support group, but this could also represent the people on the other side. So people that you have lost in this world, or ancestors, spirit guides, angels, archangels. So whoever this is could be for you. That Three of Cups is really representing that. But the rest and the shaman is about self-care, I think, because the shaman is about learning and receiving, but then also becoming the teacher. So a shaman was not always a shaman. The shaman had to learn and grow and ascend and do all of those things from a grasshopper. And that's where I feel like this is coming in for you, is that the message that's coming in is for you to take care of yourself. So if your intuition was on point right now and you were receiving these messages, I think what you would get from your ancestors is to rest, pour a lot of love into yourself, because this is representing your heart chakra, and to just really learn about your own intuition and how these messages come in and how to tap into your ancestors and your guides, because it feels to me like you're meant to teach something while you're here, that you're meant, once you figure out how to do it, you're meant to teach others how to do it as well, how to allow other people to grow from the grasshopper to the shaman. So I think that's the message that's really coming through here that might be blocked for you, is that you need to take more care of yourself. So whatever that is, if it means having better nutrition, if it means exercising, if it means more rest, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you need to take salt baths, if you need to go for nature walks, it almost doesn't matter. It's going to be different for everybody. But this is what this is saying, to pour a lot of love into yourself right now, because your body is important too when it comes to receiving intuitive messages, when it comes to ascension, when it comes to teaching other people how to heal and ascend. Your body has to be in just as good of shape as your mind and your soul and your emotions. Everything has to work together. That's what all the elements in the tarot deck represents, and the pentacles is your body. So there is a strong need coming through here for you to really understand and absorb that information, that your body is just as important as everything else. So to make sure you're really taking care of your body. That's what I think is coming through that you need to hear. So let's see what's blocking your intuition. So we have the Three of Pentacles, sweetness, and the underworld. So you may be surrounded by the wrong people. You may be working with the wrong people. You might be hanging out with the wrong people. So if we rewind a bit back to this message where we said you really need to take care of your body is coming through really strongly. There may be people in your energy who you think are good for you, who you think are your friends, for example, who you think are a good support system, but they might not be. And so with the sweetness and the underworld, it's such a dichotomy of energies that it feels like they may be tempting you or seducing you into doing things that are going to block your intuition, or maybe these people themselves are blocking your intuition. We have the Three of Pentacles. So it feels like there is, so let me give you an example. If you decided that you want to stop drinking for the month of July, random example, but these people keep coming in and calling you every weekend and saying, yeah, but it's Friday night. We need to go to the bar. Meet us at the bar. Come hang out. It's Friday night. Let's do this. Let's do that. Even though you've already told them that you're not drinking for the month of July. So I know that was kind of a stupid example, but I'm giving you an idea of what I'm talking about, that maybe certain goals that you have set for yourself that are being undermined by people who are really trying to drag you into these temptations of yours, and to not really be enlightened because they're too busy keeping your head buried in the sand, where you can't get that enlightenment you're looking for because of perhaps some of the people that are in your environment. So I do have that strongly from this particular message, that it's an idea of knowing who supports you and who doesn't support you. So as far as whatever the issue is that you're trying to solve, this is the position for how do you want to solve this? This is how do you want to solve this? So we have the 10 of Wands, flow, and the prayer. So it feels to me like you want to ask for help because we have the prayer and the 10 of Wands. So whatever this problem is that you're trying to resolve, that you're trying to tap into your intuition to solve it, it feels like because you're carrying all of these 10 wands on your own, it feels like you feel like you've been abandoned somehow. And it might have to do with this group of people who you feel are not supporting you. It could be a person too. It doesn't have to be a group of people. It feels like a group, but it make sense for you. But it feels like whenever they want to have a good time, they're around. But when it comes to doing the heavy lifting, it feels like they abandon you, or they somehow dismiss your concerns or your responsibilities. But with the prayer, it seems like you've been asking for help. You may have been asking them for help. And I think that that's how you want to solve it. But it feels like with flow that you're not a super confrontational kind of person. So you're not going to call them out and say, whenever you want to party, you're always at my door. But whenever I have things to do, I can't find you. So this make sense for you again. But it feels like you don't want to confront that you just want to go with the flow and not confront people, not rock the boat. And it feels like there's a need also for you to be using your throat chakra to communicate to them that you do need help. But I think this all goes back to your own self-care, to just draw a boundary and say, no, I'm not going to the bar this weekend. I'm going to take a salt bath and read a book and drink some tea and talk to my guides. And you don't have to say all that to them, but you can certainly say that to yourself and commit to that. So it feels like your way of solving it is what's not working, because you continue to take on responsibilities, all the heavy lifting, while also satisfying this person or this group of people, whatever that is for you. You continue to appease them and give them what they want. But then at the end of the day, you're still stuck with your responsibilities, but you may be afraid to ask for help, or you may be afraid to speak up about what you need. And so I feel like your way of solving it is not working because you're ending up with those 10 wands always. So as far as how can you hear your intuition better, we got a little bit of that so far, where you can put boundaries with people who feel like they might be fair weather friends, but you can also take care of yourself. But this hopefully is going to give us some more insight and more specifics about how you can hear your guides better when you are talking to them. So we have 8 of Swords, Success, and the Crone. So the Crone is telling me that you are a very clairvoyant person, but I don't think you know that because the 8 of Swords is here. I think that you have a very limited belief system when it comes to your abilities and when it comes to how much emotional healing you have already done. I do think that there are successes with this success card, especially because it's coming from the sacral. So in other words, you have created a lot of things in your life that have come straight from your intuition, but you might be overlooking that. You might be dismissing that. You might be thinking with this 8 of Swords that you're not a clairvoyant person, that you're not psychic, that you don't have spiritual gifts. You might be limiting yourself into thinking that you're smaller than you actually are. So I think what this is saying is you can hear your intuition, you're just not trusting it. That's what I get from this. There are far too many successes that you've already had on an intuitive level, but you don't believe it with the 8 of Swords. But you're showing up as the Crone. The Crone is the most psychic card in the Archetype deck. So it feels to me like you really can see a lot, but you are denying it or repressing it, or you don't believe it. You're not trusting it. So I do feel like there is a need to lighten up about that too, because these 8 of Swords needs some lightening up to just say, okay, hold on. I thought I just got something. I got an intuitive ping. I got a gut feeling about something. Maybe I should just trust that and see what happens. Because then that will strengthen your intuition the more you trust it. So let's see what your next steps should be. So these next steps could be about whatever it is you're trying to solve, or it could just be about how you can further open your intuition. So we have Knight of Pentacles, rejection, and the mask. I see. So this is going back to what we were saying with this support system, that you're taking on all of the responsibility perhaps of a group of people and they just want to have the fun because you're showing up as the Knight of Pentacles. You're the one who's reliable in this situation. You're the one who rolls up your sleeves, gets the work done, are steady with your work. You cross your T's, you dot your I's, you're organizing things perhaps. You are getting all the accomplishments done. And this is very clear because we see you carrying the 10 wands. And the Knight of Pentacles is exactly the person who's going to carry the 10 wands if that's what it takes. But I think with this rejection card here, there's more of this idea that you understand, though, that the Knight of Pentacles is being abandoned when it comes to the work. And we already saw that. We saw that there are people here who only want to show up during fun time and not during work time. And so I think with this mask, this is more of you integrating parts of your shadow self. And that's a whole topic on its own. But facing your shadow self is just really pulling in aspects of yourself that you have been denying. But you have to reach through the pain in order to pull that aspect in. Or you have to reach through the fear. In this case, with the Eight of Swords, you have to reach through that fear and pull that aspect in. And what I think that is for you is your throat chakra and your ability to speak up for yourself and to tell these people that I'm not accepting this anymore. I'm not just going to be here to have fun with anymore while I'm the one doing all the work. This is about speaking up. It's about self-care. It's about speaking through your heart chakra and speaking through your throat chakra and really being clear about what you will and will not accept from these people, and to allow these really repressed parts of yourself to come out in the open and not be afraid, not to let that fear of confrontation stop you from doing that. That this is a really good time for you to integrate your truth and to be liberated from these people, and also to liberate this aspect of yourself that's stuck in the shadows, so that because you haven't yet reached through that fear to grab that aspect. So I really hope that made sense. Shadow work is very complicated. So when I see the mask, I always try to hedge a little bit about how much I want to go into this because the mask is so important. But in this case, I do feel that we can simplify it to say that this is really you reaching through your fears and telling these people that you're not accepting this anymore. Even if it just means, no, I'm not going to the bar this weekend, and let that be the end of it. That's already one little fear, big fear, that you could confront by doing just that. And I think that's going to go a long way with you tapping into your intuition, getting those messages, trusting those messages because you are the crone, and also becoming the shaman, which we saw, that you are becoming the teacher for others. But it starts by integrating all aspects of your own self, setting boundaries, facing your fears. And then once you do that, you can trust your intuition, and you can then teach others exactly how to do it because you've grown from that grasshopper and now you are the shaman. So there you go. That is your reading for what is your intuition trying to tell you about this situation. Will you please let me know how this was resonant for you? Consider subscribing to the channel if you like my vibe, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.